And good evening, good morning, everyone. Welcome into the Fieldhouse Files live post-game show as the Indiana Pacers get it done tonight. 129-103, the final score in this one. My goodness, you guys are excited. So many of you waiting up and waiting for me patiently here in the live chat as well. I appreciate your patience as I first tweet out the score, get my story wrapped up, and send it out to all you subscribers to make sure you get it along with a link to this live chat. Appreciate everyone jumping in for my fourth consecutive post-game show here. It's a late one. We're going to go as long as people want to go. So much to talk about following this one, but I think the biggest thing we should emphasize is just how the Pacers got it done by committee. This is how they are built. This is when they are at their best, when it's not any one or two player. When it's, how about Siakam? Like, he was solid, but only 12 points. One of 9 players, right? Make that 8. One of 8 players in double figures. You had so many guys come in off the bench and perform well. Jarris Walker was the first sub off the bench. He played pretty well. Obi Toppin did well in his minutes, 13 points in 14 minutes. And then TJ McConnell was a difference maker, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists in his 23 minutes. I thought the other telling point to me about this one was how many different guys responded well after bad performances in game 3. Most of them had bad performance, underperforming in last game, but they responded. And it started with Miles Turner as he scored 7 of their first 9 of their first 13. He finished with the team high 23 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks. Miles just did a little bit of everything in this one. And I thought he asserted himself. For even though he led them in numbers, I want his impact to be measured in more than just numbers, because the blocks he had were significant. They were momentum swingers. They were circumstances like the block on Giannis. That was awfully close to a goaltend. I probably would have thought it was the right call either way. Well, it was not a goaltend, they ruled. And Giannis, that frustrated him, got him a little bit upset there, and changed the momentum. Then he had a couple more in the second half as well. He played hard, played smart, and helped this Pacers team to the win. And I looked up this good stat before wrapping up my last at the buzzer. The Pacers have been dominant in the halves. They've been up at least 8 points in all 4 games at halftime. They've only lost a couple of halves. They've tied 1 and won the other 5, right? So that'd be 5, 2, and 1 in this series. They've dominated this series. They've had the upper hand, and today coming away with a 26-point Game 4 assertive win, commanding 3-1 lead. Now they come back to Indianapolis for Game 4 coming up on Tuesday night. If you didn't like the start time of this one, I think you'll like the start time to Tuesday, because it's not a 9:42 like it was tonight. It'll be around 6 p.m. But those of you that are blacked out at the NBA TV issue here in Central Indiana, I'm sorry, but it'll happen at least one more time here with Game 5 coming up on Tuesday. All right, so many comments, so let's get right to them here before I get in and share my thoughts, because I have so much to say on this performance and what we saw, and Lillard's injury. So awful to see that happen. For me, I just hate to think about the Bucks and their medical staff and why they even put him in this situation. They're not a contending team. They probably weren't going to win even a series. It's certainly not more than 2. He hadn't played in a month, and yeah, it's just awful. And now you probably ruined him for the next season as well. He turns 35 in July. He'll be, 36 by the following season. We'll get into that a little bit later on. A lot of excitement early on in the first comments. Boom, boom, boom. 6+ in double figures always means a win. 8+ tonight. Yep, that's right, PJ. It's good to see you on here. We've missed you live on the last several ones. I know you've been listening after the fact. Sean's on from Hawaii. That's outstanding. 3:30. You probably did not like that one. I want to count the chickens before they hatch, but what are the chances I give the Pacers on beating the Cavs? I don't want to go on a record with that one just yet, just because I want to look closer at this Cavaliers first series, how they've been playing. But I think it's one they would be competitive in, but I would give the upper hand to the Cavaliers. Just more talented overall. They've had a dominant year. They were the best team in the East. They were so good on their home floor. I think they were the only team in the Eastern Conference that had more wins on their home court than the Pacers, who I think have won 31 home games, looking for 32 coming up Tuesday. So my first reaction, without much research, because I haven't dug into that series potential just yet, as they go for the sweep Monday night. And I expect that to happen against the Heat. I think the Cavs would win it, but the Pacers would absolutely make it a tough one. Sean, appreciate you joining in from Hawaii. That's outstanding. What's up, Eddie? I love how you're using the Pacers slogan, just because you know how much I dislike it. Yeah, it's a little corny for me. MK Sinks, it felt like forever to wait for this late game, but Pacers rewarded everyone who had to watch it. And how about those Jarris minutes? Tough job to defend Giannis, but can't complain. First of all, I love this tip time. Now, I know many of you do not. I forget who it was, but one of my subscribers sent a message, and it was basically like, "Yeah, you writers or night owls are on late night time." Yeah, we are. I'm wide awake at this hour, so I love it. Versus, I don't go into work at 8 a.m. like many of you. I have fever practice in the morning, but probably won't leave my place until 11 a.m. So not too bad. So I'll finish up and maybe watch some of this game back. But in terms of, Jarris, every time you look up, he's doing something positive for the team. He's a guy that easily could be checked out, right? Because he's a young guy. He's only in year 2. He's felt a roller coaster of a season where he's used a lot, not at all. Used one game, not at all. Not used to start the series. Now he's playing. He was the first sub off the bench. So that's got to be a mental toll for him, a guy that used to be best player on his team and then such an integral part of the University of Houston, and then spending most of his rookie season in the G League. He's stuck with it. He's persevered, and it's got to be so fruitful for him tonight. Play 22 minutes in a playoff game, a dominant win. Yeah, he goes up against the top 3 player in the league in Giannis during those minutes, and I thought handled himself quite well. So he has a lot he should be encouraged by, and this is just the start, man. Give him a couple more years, and you're really going to like what he's able to produce out there. I want to look up his defensive minutes on here and see how much time he spent on Giannis, for example. I'm able to use this thanks to some NBA stats they provide us with. Siakam spent the most time guarding Giannis, 4 minutes. He gave up 8 points. Jarris Walker was on him about 2.5 minutes, gave up just 2 shots attempted, and one of those went in, so just 2 points by Giannis during that stretch. Let's see who Jarris. I want to see one more thing while we're on Jarris. On offense, he went against Giannis, did not score. Went against AJ Green and Chris Livingston and was able to score there. All right, that checks out. That sounds about right. But I appreciate the comment there. Good minutes from Jarris. R. Smith absolutely killed their spirit tonight. Pacers in 5. Yeah, I think so too. I said it even before this game. I thought the Bucks would get one. It would be a gentleman's sweep here. They were too talented, and they have one of the best players in the league. I did not see a sweep coming just at all. And you throw in the Dame factor, even though he was less than probably 50% out there, you still have to check him and be conscious of him. Here's something I think really showed Lillard's lack of impact in this one. It's not a critique of him, more actually of the Bucks for thinking they should have played him. And to be fair, we don't know. Maybe Lillard was pushing it, saying, hey, this might be our last iteration together. I approved a trade. I wanted to come here with Giannis. Let's see this thing through, because if it fails, and it's going to this year, maybe they blow it up. Remember that first half he had that was tremendous? 3 for 6, 11 points in his first half of basketball in more than a month. Since then, here are what the halves have looked like. 1 of 7, 3 points. 1 of 8, 2 points. 1 of 4, 5 points. Tonight, 0 for 2, scoreless. It's just not good. I mean, throughout that, what is that quick math if I can do it? 3 for 19, 3 for 21 if you include tonight. That tells me right there he wasn't ready to play. And I mean, it looks like an Achilles. They're all but saying that. You don't need an MRI to know, but it will confirm it. And we'll see that with Doc Rivers saying that tonight, that he'll get an MRI coming up Monday. All the athletic trainers will tell you, you can do a test and know right away if that Achilles is stable or not, or if it's intact. They could probably do it visually, but certainly with a quick test. That's why you see the news. It's not good. I can't tell you. It's not looking good. It's a devastating injury. That's all basically saying what it is without the confirmation there. So yeah, we're certainly thinking about Dame. I thought it was cool how, at least that I heard, both Rick Carlisle and Tyrese Halliburton and Miles Turner all opened their press conferences thinking of Dame. And I mean, he's a top 75 player all time and is an impactful guy, 9-time All-Star. You hate to see maybe his time in Milwaukee go out like this. PJ, once again, I was a bit skeptical coming into tonight's game, but based on the effort Pacers got in Milwaukee, but the boys proved him wrong and need to close it on Tuesday. Totally agree. Finish your business. You probably recognize that Cleveland's going to finish off and get a sweep coming up Monday. So don't mess around. Don't fiddle fart out here. You take care of your business, because otherwise you enable Cleveland to sit around for a couple more days while you have to play another one before even getting to the top team in the Eastern Conference. This is one, while you're on top, while you're dominant, you just got to handle your business. I thought it was interesting, as I see at the bottom, D says Pacers open 7.5-point favorites in game 5. I'm kind of surprised it's not a little bit more, given their dominance, given they're at home, and given that they're almost certainly won't be a Damian Lillard out there. The Bucks were favored in each of the last 2 games, getting the edge because they were at home and with Giannis. Today, it was a 4-point spread for the Bucks, and the Pacers end up winning by 26. So any gamblers out there, hope you took that and enjoyed that one for sure. Pacers, one of the best teams on their home court. I would fully expect them to be able to close it out, given everything that's happened, but I guess we'll see in the meantime and see what kind of emotional response that the Bucks have, given all that they have continued to deal with. It's just bad luck after bad luck after bad injury ever since they won that championship. Bob says McConnell seemed like the X factor tonight. Yeah, he was one of them. To me, it was Miles Turner. Miles was the player of the game without question. The X factor, sure, yeah, off the bench. He came in, he prodded and picked apart that 2-3 zone that we saw the Bucks really lean into, especially after Lillard went out. He got to the teeth of the defense, something I did not think they did a good enough job or did enough of in that game 3. Obviously, the numbers were there as TJ finished 15, 3, and 6, second on the team in assists. As a group, 36 assists on 50 field goals. That was really, really good. They shot 60%, second best number in franchise playoff history. There were 129 points, is 1 point shy of the franchise playoff record. So it was just an overall pounding by the Pacers tonight. They dominated, never trailed, second in 4 games that they have not ever trailed and won wire to wire. But I would agree, McConnell was incredible off the bench and gave that spark that they needed. He was another one like Miles that had a good bounce back game, because he didn't perform up to his level in game 3. I think he and the rest of the team would tell you that. Good question by Jared Fry, which I have not got into, but I'm glad I am now here about 10 minutes into this. And it's Benedict Mathurin. Why didn't he play? What's up with him? Well, remember that, I think it was in the second half when he went up to contest the layup by Giannis at the rim. I know it happens frequently, but Ben went up, and then afterward, he was doing the old twirling the finger. He was not wanting an offensive foul, I don't think. I think he wanted it reviewed for a kind of like a dangerous foul or whatever, because he took a shot from the knee of Giannis to his abdominal area, and ultimately it's an abdominal contusion, which is another word for bruise. So he's dealing with a bruised abdominal, which, think about your abdomen. You use it in everything you do. Reach up, reach to the side, reach down, dribble, everything. And I guess Carlisle post-game was saying he didn't eat well. He's not sleeping well. He's just uncomfortable. And that does make sense when you deal with the abdomen here. This is a strong guy, a tough guy. He's not going to want to miss games. I think in a perfect situation, you're able not to play him in game 5, get him another 5 days rest or what have you, and then have him be ready for series 2. If it's me, that's what you're really looking for. But it's going to probably be very difficult, I think, to keep him out of it, because he's such a competitor, such a bruiser in a good way. and a guy that can get to the free throw line, a guy that can get you buckets when the shots aren't falling. It certainly was not a problem here tonight for the Pacers, but there will be games like 2 games ago, and you want a guy like Mathurin out and competitor. Granny Danger, Miles MVP of the game. Yep, totally agree with you there. Justin says, what's your take on Fever day one? I love the Fever fans who jump in here. I appreciate it. I'll get a quick synopsis here, even though a majority are Pacer fans. Yep. Fever practice. We were able to watch the final 20 plus minutes. They're playing fast, a lot of ball movement, a lot of players engaged. It's going to be competitive at the back end of the roster. 15 players in camp. There's 12 roster spots, but because of the salary cap, they're only going to keep 11 to start the season. That means what? You got 5 players competing for 1 spot early on in the season. When you waive them, players can be picked up elsewhere. So there could be some strategy also that comes into that. We talked with DeWanna Bonner, Aaliyah Boston afterward. But the biggest thing that stood out to me was just how the players carried themselves. And the few messages that stood out to me from this first practice was constant movement from players. I don't want you standing. I don't want you, if you're not moving, maybe you're setting a screen. If you're not screening, maybe you're sliding to the corner. Every one of those things directly impacts the offense. And then defense is going to matter once again with the Fever. They were just 11th last year. First started with personnel, which I've said the same thing for the Pacers. Before they get much better defensively, it starts with the players. And then second of all, it comes down to schemes and getting back and those sort of things. So it was a good first day. Tomorrow, it was weird not talking to the head coach today, but she was not made available. We will talk to Stephanie White coming up on Monday, as well as Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. So I know you'll want to be tuned into my YouTube page here to get all those updates. Hi, Jules. Hi, Lindy. Some Fever talking here. Pacers in 5, says Just Jules. Do you think they can beat the Cavs? Kind of answered that a little bit earlier. I think they certainly can. But, man, the Cavs are tough. I don't think they will right now. But, again, I want to go and see how the Cavs watch their series closely. This is one thing any beat writer of a team that's still playing will tell you is we are so focused on the team we cover that we aren't able to watch and enjoy as much of the rest of the playoffs until our team is done, because we have so much to cover and make calls about and write and podcast and go on other people's podcasts. I did a radio show last night and before this game. All those different things go into it. So I want to go back and watch some more of this Cavs Heat series to get a better understanding of them. San Diego says sad news tonight. Maybe a new coach and new team coming in Milwaukee. Sorry about that. Yep, I would suppose so. It feels like this Bucks iteration is like the Pacers 3 years ago, and it's just past its expiration date, and they need to do something about that. Challenge is, what do you do about Giannis? You don't really want to move on from there, but part of me thinks they need to set him free. I just don't know how much flexibility they have to reset the roster. You have Brook Lopez, who's a free agent. Do you bring him back? What do you do with Bobby Portis? It's just a group that needs a refresh, I think. But I just hate to see a market team like the Bucks have to break it up and kind of make some substantial changes like they may. Jason Bell, Indy native, waking up very happy in London. Hell, love that. Love that. We've had Hawaii, we've had London. And I know on my Fever videos earlier, I had people from all over. I think from Australia, London, maybe Italy. Anyways, it's amazing. That's the miracle of technology and such, keeping us connected. Anyway, Jason said TJ looked great. Good response with Mathurin being out. Is it known how long he'll miss time? And talking about Ben. No, I think it's purely a day-to-day. It's how he feels, how he recovers. I would guess he's doing the hot tub, cold tub, red light therapy, and then just trying to take it easy with that abdomen. But nothing that they're saying he's out weeks. They're just saying the day-to-day moniker, I should say. Shepard surprised with some good minutes. See, I'm not surprised. Like, that's who he is. I think why Shepard's got a bad rap the last couple months is he hadn't shot it well, and he hadn't played up to his standards. When he was out there like he was tonight, I thought he played great and did exactly kind of what we expect from him. I expect from him to pop off the bench, provide a spark. I think it was him and TJ McConnell that forced that 8 seconds backcourt violation. That's what he does. He's out there, number one, for his hard play. He's out there to cause chaos and do all the dirty work. Second, he's out there to knock down threes when he's open. Third, he's there to defend and play his ass off, and I think he does. So it was good to see him look more like himself. I would say that much more, Granny, than I would say he's surprised or was stunning or, what have you. Best bench game overall by far. Definitely up there for the season. Not the best overall, I don't think, because I think you got more contributions in some other games. I think there was a game where the bench had 70 points, I want to say. Matherin obviously was missing, and he would have contributed 20-some points to that in a big-time game. But the fact that everybody looked good, I'm not sure there's a bad thing to say about anyone's performance out there. Certainly they weren't all perfect, but overall it was just a collaborative, complete effort by this Indiana Pacers team, and that sets up for what they could do is finish off the Bucks coming up on Tuesday at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. It's another gold out, and then they would be set up to play the Cleveland Cavaliers in the conference semifinals. What else do we got here? Best bench, best bench. Iorlingus, I hope that's how you say it, from Tokyo. If that's so, that's incredible and speaks again to the global appeal of Pacers and especially Fever basketball. A great day for basketball in Indy for both Fever and Pacers. This person says, yeah, it absolutely is. Kept me busy. I went from one event to the next, but no doubt about that. If Indy closes out on Tuesday, when would the next series open? Let me see. I got an email about this. I don't think we know just yet when those series start. No, we do not. All we know right now is when game 6s would potentially be, I think. So right now, I would guess it would be towards the end of the week. Try to capitalize on that Friday, Sunday TV window. But I have nothing official, unfortunately, to pass along, PJs. Good question. Lindy's abdominal injuries take a bit to completely heal. Yeah, of course they do. I'm not sure it'll completely heal until the off season when he can take off for 2 or 3 weeks at a time. But he's not going to want to sit out or miss significant time here at all. So it's all about probably a pain tolerance and then a matter of, how deep is the strain? Is it could you possibly tear it and make it much worse? Or is it just managing the pain? Does he want to take a shot? All those kind of things. Can't wait for DB and Natasha talking Fever. Yeah, absolutely. Those two will be big inside. I think you'll see DB as the backup 4 as well, get some minutes there. With Dantas maybe at the 5. I'm intrigued by the smaller lineups as well. There's a lot of different ways they can go there. I think Sydney Colson will be a really good third-string point guard. Give them 10 minutes per game. I think she's a player not a lot of Fever fans have talked about this offseason. Lindy, appreciate that compliment. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to all those videos. And make sure, if you're just subscribed to YouTube, make sure I get you over to my site at fieldhousefiles.com as well. That's where all my stories go directly to your inbox. And right now, 40% off an annual price, an annual subscription there. So 40% off the $77. Great investment for you. And you don't have to seek out the content. It goes directly to you. So, there's that. And on top of that, you're helping and support my independent coverage. There's not a lot of individuals covering these teams. There's not a lot of independent people covering the team. So I appreciate that. I'll be next weekend. I'll be at Iowa City for Caitlin's reunion game on Sunday. They have the home game against the Mystics on Saturday. I'll be there, then making the drive over about 6 hours to Iowa City. Never been to the University of Iowa until then. And so that will be a good time. Gold out for game 5. That's correct, Granny Danger. You're getting one of those shirts that my guy Eddie Garrison's going to love with the Yes Sirs moniker. Not my thing. But you'll get a t-shirt with that. It's going to be an XL gold shirt. So there you go. Yes, gold out confirmed. Right. Ryan says, do you think the Bucks shooting kind of regressed to the mean tonight after a random 37-point performance from Trent Jr.? Yeah, I think that's a good point. Look, I've gone almost 25 minutes here, and who have I not mentioned? Gary Trent Jr. 6 points, 2 for 6. I think it represents what's going to happen in a series, and you're going to have a role player go off in one of the games. You just are. We thought maybe it was over from game 2 with Bobby Portis and a loss for the Bucks, but that turned out not to be the case. It was actually this Gary Trent game. He started last game. He started tonight as well after, I think, what was it, 4 starts all season, I want to say? Maybe it was 9 through his 74 regular season games. That's it. So it was a big shift for him to go into the starting lineup. And then Taurean Prince not really doing much. 6 starts. All right. I think Eddie, 7 stars. I assume that includes last game as well. But nonetheless, yeah, he's a guy that not even got starts half the time like a Matherin when players are injured. He just rarely started until this shift, and it turned out to be a good one. It helped get them a game 3, but clearly didn't contribute much tonight. This was Giannis. You got Kevin Porter Jr., who I thought would be solid and average 20 points per game in this series. He gave the Bucks 23 points, and that was really it. Overall, it was a disappointing effort from everybody not named Giannis. And the fact that Giannis was held to 28 points, huge victory. This is a guy that should average 40 points against the Pacers in the series, and he's not going to. He's basically gotten his average about 36 points per game. That's it. And so I think the Pacers have done a nice job focusing on sending multiple guys at him. And I mean that in 2 ways. I mean, Siakam gets a shift, then Neesmith, some in Nembhard, mostly Jarris Walker as well. It also means having that wall right at the free throw line because he does not take 3-pointers. So you want to set up, try to keep him from attacking. And then he's only getting to the free throw line 11, 12 times per game, not 20, not 18. So that's, I think, encouraging, and the way in which the Pacers have been able to successfully defend him and keep him from doing that. I hope I'm saying this right. Eorlingus again asking, what's the viral saying with "What the Helly" by Tyrese Halliburton? It's not a saying, it's a song by, I think, Rock 40. Go check that out. It's big, I guess, on YouTube, but it's a catchy song, and it's something that Tyrese has certainly leaned into. And at the last Pacers playoff home game, they hosted the artist, put him courtside, they mic'd him up. So they've certainly leaned into it. And the best part about it, I think, for fans is because they worked with him, they got the rights to be able to use his music in their posts. So in the video on YouTube and on their posts on social media, they use that audio. Otherwise, you might see videos where there's no audio or where it's quiet. It's because the teams don't want to risk a lawsuit or having to pay a big fine. That's also why fans maybe not know this. You know, at pregame intros, so long ago, it used to be the same intro song for the team. It's different because if it's a mix, they don't have to pay the one artist a big fee if it's a pure DJ mix, versus if it's one song, that's a big hefty fee that they have to pay to the artist, and they have to have the rights to it and all those sorts of things. Just Jules, what do you think right now will be the last 2 standing for the championship? I have a hard time not seeing right now Boston and OKC. San Diego, don't feel bad for the Lakers. They're bad and should have never lost. People are mad. Yeah. They were the one road team not to win today, I believe. 3 road teams won, including the Pacers. But I think it was the Lakers losing at Minnesota today. Eddie, not once did I watch this game tonight and think about Matherin. Yikes for him. I think that's just because everybody else was playing so well. I think the only time you may have thought about him, Eddie, is if, hey, the Pacers badly need a bucket, or they're not competitive enough, or they can't get to the free throw line. There are those circumstances where I think you do. But when you take a 10-point lead 4 minutes into the game, and it's the Bucks calling the first time out, and then you go up 30-24 after 1, you go into halftime, I think up by 11. I think it was 63-52 or something like that. And then you're up double digits the entire second half. I don't think you're thinking about what if or what you're missing as much, versus if you're down, you need a bucket, you need some free throws, you need a competitive guy out there. But certainly the Pacers have some decisions to make on Matherin. Both his role, is he going to start next year? I think that might be important. Secondly, and I think this is a no-brainer, is you extend his rookie deal. Trouble is, it'll probably be a max deal, or at least that's what I'm guessing he'll be seeking here. Are you willing to do that? It wouldn't kick in until after this next season, but that's something that front office has to plan for in the salary cap and where they'll be. Because I think in the best case scenario here, I think they are not in the luxury tax next season, but have to own up and go all in the following season. That's probably what I would say here. Hey, Eorlangus, I appreciate the tip on here. Thank you. Thanks, my friend. I think the Pacers do need to go all in. They might have to go into the luxury tax this next season with Miles. He's going to be a free agent, but there's not a robust market in terms of teams willing to pay out there. You're talking about Brooklyn and San Antonio, and that's a bit about it. So many teams, I'm thinking the Clippers, for example, timed all their free agents so that their salary cap is kind of up in 2026. And then there will be a massive market for players like a Miles Turner in 2 years. Um, it all depends, obviously, on what Miles will want to do. But those are certainly some of the considerations have going into this summer, including what does Matherin's next contract look like? They already got Nemhard under contract for the next 3 years. It's crazy. He's only getting paid $2 million the final year of his rookie deal this season. Then his number soars up to about $18 million. And for his contributions, like tonight, 20-point game, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, little bit of everything. That's good value for a starter and a player who is so solid at both ends of the floor. D says Matherin's kind of a bust, should be traded this summer. I'd take a first. I would definitely disagree with you about him being a bust. No, not at all. He's in year 3. He was young. He's battled so many different elements, going from Canada to Mexico to University of Arizona to the Pacers. He started, then he's come off the bench. It's kind of yo-yoed a little bit, and then they got people in front of him, which complicates things. Similarly, by the way, to Jarris Walker. We all thought maybe Jarris would start, probably would come off the bench, and they find a starter in front of him, like an Obi Toppin. But then guess what? They go out and get Pascal Siakam, which bumps back Toppin, which bumps back Jarris Walker. So it complicates things for everybody out there. I'm not. It's far too early to call anyone a bust, first of all, especially a guy that's providing like he is, being at minimum a sixth man. I think he'll be a starter for sure in this league, and you hope he can take at least one more step into the all-star conversation, and maybe he could. I think it's far too soon to say. Donnie Walsh taught me years ago, got to give guys at least 3-4 years to figure out what they are, and maybe even another year if they are a center. He's not a center, but just wanted to pass that along. You're going to love the University of Iowa, my alumni school. Good deal, Just Jules. Would you ever do a joint podcast with the Adrian Ross Show? Don't know who that is, but I'd be willing to check that out and join. I'm happy to help other people out. There's so many people that help me out along the way. Yeah, I have no problem with that. Supposedly, you should be able to watch all the games that aren't available right after live game. Not sure I understand what you're talking about. If you're talking about the fever season, I think you'll probably have to wait till the day after, but I'm not certain on that. If you're talking about WNBA League Pass. PJ steers us back into the Pacers, says, I wonder how chippy the Bucks, Portis especially, will try to get in Game 5 just to try and hurt the Pacers going forward and getting guys techs and ejections. I agree with the first part. I think the second part is a little overblown. I don't think they're looking to hurt anyone. I don't think they're looking to, ruin their chances moving forward. But they're going to play with an edge. They're going to play furious. They're going to play pissed off. And mostly they're going to play desperate. That's what Portis does anyway. And the fact that he hasn't got ejected at this point is probably a good call on his part and fortunate. He's a guy that, if you heard my podcast previewing the series with Jim Ozarski, talked about all the different things he's gone through this year. Death of a good friend, taking unknowingly a banned substance that cost him 20 games. And it's not just the 20 games, it's the paycheck that you miss that goes along with that complicates things. And then coming back and coming off the bench, and how is he treated on the road? How Pacer fans see Halliburton treated at Fiserv Forum is what Bucks fans see Bobby Portis treated in Indianapolis, for example. Obviously, Portis is much more well-deserved given how he's the irritant. He's the pest. He's the pain in the ass. I didn't like how he tried to get on Nesmith after Nesmith fell, got fouled, had the ball. Like, what are we doing here? I'm good with real toughness. It's the fake toughness. And when you start something to start something. It was Kevin Porter Jr. Saying something to Aaron Nesmith as well. Aaron's not a guy that's talking a lot of shit out there. He's just not. So for him to get lit up by 2 different opposing players, maybe they were just pissed off because he was playing so well. 14 points, 5 rebounds, doing the dirty work, hustling inside, made both his free throws. I think Aaron has taken his role to another step this postseason. I really do. Good question, though, PJ. That's definitely something I thought about, especially given that tonight there were 5 technical fouls handled out, but none of the Pacers super key players. It was Jarris Walker and Aaron Nesmith. PD says what also hasn't been talked about much is the fact of the Pacers landing the 4th seed versus 5th seed means Cleveland instead of Boston. For sure. The challenge is, though, I don't think I take that lightly, though, PD. And that's because Cleveland played better than anyone in the Eastern Conference during the regular season. I love their addition of DeAndre Hunter at the trade deadline. I love that because they went all in knowing, hey, we got a team this year. They were the team that had like an 18-game win streak. That's not a fluke at all. They got the double bigs, which certainly is interesting in this modern age. They got the guards, which the Pacers will have some trouble containing. And then now they have DeAndre Hunter. And then Ty Jerome, Max Strus. They just have a well-balanced starting group. The Pacers have the advantage with the bench, no doubt. They have the advantage with the coaching, I believe. But that starting group with 4 borderline all-stars plus Donovan Mitchell, who in Tim Bontemps' straw poll, I voted 5th for MVP purely to kind of he's played well, but also I wanted some Cleveland player represented for the season they've had. Probably also could have put LeBron in there. Would have been Luka if he qualified for games. But that's a team, man. They're really good. And so, yeah, it's slightly better than the Celtics, but I think it's one of those be careful what you wish for. I think some Pacer fans, for example, were probably looking more so to play the Pistons than the Bucks, given the Bucks had the best player in the series, one of the best players in the world. You didn't know what Dame's status was. They have championship experience. Pistons are new to all this. Pistons similar to the Pacers last season. Pistons, though, play with an edge and have complicated things with the Knicks here this season, postseason. It's kind of frustrating, right, to watch the end of their game today. And clearly there was a foul on New York. It was not called and the Knicks prevail. So I just want them to get it right. We got replay and the official was standing right there. We all saw it. And JB Bickerstaff, we saw him try to make his point post game. By then it was too late. And so when you have that, not just the last 2-minute report, which will come out, but you had the pool report from the official 30 minutes after the game say, yeah, we missed it. It doesn't fix anything, and it's frustrating for fans and the players and team alike. Let's see. What else do we got here? We got Fever fans. I can still see. You guys are committed, man. Jules said, I'll be at Carver Arena on May 3rd when the Fever play Brazilian. Yep, I will be there as well. That will be a great time, to be sure. Eddie says it was also Tony Brothers out there. Yeah, he doesn't mess around with the BS. You're absolutely right. And part of me did understand it. There was that point, and I think it was the Nesmith, Kevin Porter Jr. Double technicals early there in the third quarter, about 7:12 left. That was very much, I'm getting a hold of this game rather than these two deserve technical fouls. I didn't think that was the case. I think it was just to prove a point and say, hey, guys, none of this. We're not having it. And then 2 minutes later was the Jarris Walker technical with Ryan Rollins as well. And they both gave a shove. That's one of those, I think, in normal aspects. You'd say, guys, cut it out. Then you'd probably give a warning. Then you'd give a technical. These are two young guys where things happen. But Pacers got it done tonight, 129-103 late Sunday night. It's already 1:30 in the morning here on Eastern time after the Pacers improved to 3-1 in this best of 7 series. So now they have 3 games. You just need to win one of them. I think they will, and I think they'll get it done coming up Tuesday with or without Mathurin in the lineup. This team's just too focused. They have the depth. Now they have that experience. And in a game where Siakam really didn't even have to be a standout at all. He's good for 20 points per game. Didn't need it tonight. And they still won handedly by 26 points. Nearly set a couple franchise playoff records in doing so. I mean, it's remarkable. Shooting 60% from the field while keeping the Bucks to 41%. They assisted on 36 of 50 of their field goals. They did have 12 turnovers, surprisingly, 4 more than the Bucks, but otherwise they dominated in all categories. And I think the number one thing I always point to, same thing with the Fever of how they want to play. It's the pace. It's setting the tone, setting their pace in which that they want to play at. 16-2 advantage in fast break points. So I think that kind of tells the story, especially how the game jumped off and really got things started. So well done there by everyone as the Pacers get it done here late Sunday night. So weird that the Pacers on Eastern time, the Bucks on Central time, they have this game be the primetime featured game on TNT late night. I know a lot of fans upset about it. I had friends texting me, I'm headed to bed. It's first quarter, but I'll catch up the next day. I understand that. And to make up for it, I guess, coming up Tuesday, you get the early game, a game that'll be over by 8:30. I guarantee it. It'll tip off probably 6:10 Eastern time. And by 8:30, we may know Pacers Cavs in round 2, assuming the Cavaliers handle their business coming up Monday night. Any final Pacer questions here? I'm going to wrap this one up. Gone over 40 minutes here. And I know a lot of people will also tune into this in the morning and on the podcast, maybe on their drive into work. So I don't want to make it too long. Yeah, I do, Ryan, think the Cavs close out the Heat tomorrow. They've been just too dominant. And they are that good. And so the Heat, they kind of remind me of the Bucks at they're past their expiration point and are probably due for a shakeup here, even more so than they've already had, moving on from Jimmy Butler and all that. They just haven't been as much in the conversation as I think they would like to be, and barely made the playoffs this one because of the play-in tournament, which I don't like, can't stand, but I do understand why fans appreciate it and all of that. Giannis to the Pacers. Yeah, I'm guessing you're not going to move him in your division. Probably not going to happen. You're probably not going to keep him in your conference, by the way, if the Bucks do get to that point. But I think we're a long ways away from that. And more than anything, a player that good is very likely going to control their situation. They're going to tell the Bucks where they want to be traded because they can throw a fit otherwise. Just see Jimmy Butler, for example. 129-103, the final in this one. 8 players in double figures. Just an overall pounding by the Bucks here as the Pacers get it done. They won in this one every single quarter. They never trailed, led by as many as 26. No ties. It was about as complete of a performance as you will see by the Pacers, and a lot for them to celebrate on their flight home. The quick charter flight, probably less than an hour up or down from Milwaukee after this big win. They're now up 3-1 in the best of 7 series. That wraps up this live edition of the Fieldhouse Files live Pacers post-game show. I appreciate everyone joining me live on YouTube, watching it on replay, or listening on the Fieldhouse Files podcast. A lot more coverage at fieldhousefiles.com. Again, special offer I'm offering for a limited time, 40% off an annual subscription. Even if you don't want to pay, please join me on there with a free subscription. It'll definitely be worth that it's money right there. Thanks again for joining us, and I will talk to you all again very soon. Have a great night or morning, everyone. Talk to you then.